That's what we'll be dealing with tonight. Last time we got to around the 14th verse, but I kind of want us to transition back in just to kind of refresh our memories. So if someone could go ahead and read 16, 11, 12, and go ahead and get that 13th verse too, please.
And the Lord spoke to us, saying, I have heard the complaints of the children of Israel. Speak to them, saying, at twilight you shall eat meat, and in the morning you shall be filled with bread. You shall know that I am the Lord your God. So it was that quails came on that evening and covered the camp, and in the morning the dew lay all around.
We've talked about over and over as we come into the wilderness, complaining. You're going to find out these children, they earned their name of stiff-necked because they constantly complain. But you know what? We got the same issue. Amen. Remember your homework 2 weeks ago? Go 24 hours without complaining. I had people coming to me crying, Pastor, I messed up. You know, and some of them hadn't even got out of the church. They were already complaining. It really is. There are very few people that live their lives with minimal complaints. Very few, especially those who are privileged. You would think, you know, we sit on cushion pews, we got air conditioning, we got cars, that we wouldn't complain. But it seems like the more privileged we become, the more we complain. Isn't that weird? The more we have, the more we actually complain. Same with these children of Israel. The more they have, they got God. Cloud by day, fire by night. God is providing water out of rock, all of this stuff, and they are still complaining. Notice that transition. They're complaining, so what does God do? God says, okay, I'm going to provide for you, but the backside of this is God was already going to provide. God was already going to do it, and basically he's saying, why are you complaining? Because I am your provider. And oftentimes we waste breath, our blood pressure goes up because we don't trust God. We complain about things that most of the time we don't have any control over. We can't change anyway. And God has said, I'm already going to work it out for you. Look at this, that 13th verse. So it was that the 12 came up at evening and covered the camp. Always find this amazing. God controls every aspect. Creatures, ants, we've seen that, grasshoppers, even quails. He tells them where to go, and they go. All of these were created for a purpose. They covered the camp, and the morning, what else came? The morning dew. Very important. Being in the military, I found out that, you know, we run short on water. That dew, you can actually drink the dew off the ground, and you can survive from the dew. Very, very important, that dew in the morning. 14 and 15, someone read, please.
And when the layer of lifting, there on the surface of the wilderness is a small round substance, as fine as fruits on the ground. So when the children of Israel saw it, they said to one another, what is this? For we did not know what it was. And Moses said to them, this is the bread which the Lord has given you.
Wow, what a wonderful scripture. Complaints come, but God is gracious and he provides. Now, realize this, we're going to have to deal with this over and over and over again. God knows that we complain. He's very gracious, but in our complaints, he's trying to get us to the point of trusting him. But if we continue to complain, judgment will come. All right? So he'll deal with us. I mean, we can have, you know, several complaints. He knows where our hearts are. Okay, so he shows us that he's our God. He provides. But if we continue on to not recognize his power, then another thing will come, that judgment to kind of wake us up in different ways. So that dew comes, and when that dew lifts up, what do we see? We see these things laying there. And they're like, what is it? And then Moses gives this awesome word. What does he say?
Bread.
Bread from heaven. What does that remind you of? Manna or Jesus, bread of life. There was something we did it second Sunday. Communion. All right? This is my body. That whole bread. The Messiah picture. Quails came which provided Israel with the best of meat. Isn't God good? Best of meat. God provides it from the air. They knew that quails were they knew what quails were, but when they saw a small round thing as small as the hoarfrost, they said in Hebrew, manna, meaning, what is it? It came from God, and later Christ claimed it to be the true bread of life from heaven, John 6:35. When one comes to Christ, he will fully be satisfied. God provides on his own. And this is critical. I still think he does that. It's not so much our monies. We work and we have monies and we buy our food. But I really believe that God provides for you no matter what. He can use people, brings your way. And not many of us here have ever been a lengthy time that God did provide for you. Food. Now, it may not have been like a filet beyond or something like that. But all of us have had an abundance of food. When I was over in the Caribbean area, I mean, they had food growing in the yard. I mean, they could survive off the food that just grew in the neighborhood, just pick it right off of the tree. God always provides for us. And even as we look at ourselves, don't look at your neighbor, but we got extra food on our bodies now. Ain't God good? Really, that's what it is. It's extra food. If we ever hit a famine or whatever, some of y'all can last, some of y'all can last a long time. So y'all would say I was picking on y'all, Really, we've got our food, we carry it around with us. God provides in a wonderful way. Look at Exodus 16, 16, and 17. And go ahead down to the 19th. Someone read, please.
This is the day which the Lord has commanded, that every man gather it according to each one's need. One owner for each person according to the number of persons, that every man take for those who are in his kingdom. Then the children of Israel did so and gathered some more, some less. So when they measured it by owners, he who gathered much had nothing left over, and he who gathered little had no lack. Every man had gathered according to each one's need. And Moses said, let no one leave any of it till morning.
What can we learn from the above verses? Anybody?
More than enough.
More than enough? All right, God provided more than enough. All right, we don't need to be hoarders. Obedience. What else? Yes.
Don't waste.
Don't waste. Anything else? When we put all these things together and we compare to our lives, how have we failed God so miserably? Man, I do. Bianca and I just really examine our lives, looking at our refrigerator. You know, in all of our refrigerators, there's that no man's land. You know, you put it in the front, and then it just kind of slides to the back. And it's like out of sight, out of mind. And we waste so much stuff. Things, we went through all our cabinets. And this funny thing, we found out things have expiration dates. We were like, oh my goodness, no wonder we were sick. We were eating that stuff, and we were like, that's the expiration date. 2015, oh my goodness. 1890, oh my goodness. It's like, how much stuff in our lives God has provided, and what he wanted us to be were his hands to deliver it to someone else. But instead of delivering, taking what we needed, we hoarded it. Oh, I need this. And in essence, we were inhibiting a blessing of someone else. Many of you have testified, the neighborhoods that you grew up as a child, if someone was out of eggs and someone had eggs, you just go to your neighbor and you share. I can't even imagine this. You're out of sugar. I can't imagine going over my neighbor. You know what? You ran out of sugar. Can I borrow some of yours? But that's how it was. Whatever I didn't have, you had. That whole process. This is the way God is working. Deacon Rudd, you have your hand up?
Yes, I can see a lot of individuals right now in these days and times. Some of us families only 2 or 3, and we get enough for 8 or 10. Then some of us that 8 or 10, then we don't get enough for 15 to 20. What I'm saying is, we shouldn't be greedy and hungry like that.
Amen.
I see John has got so-and-so, so I'm gonna give you something. No, get just what you need.
Amen. Amen.
He said he will supply your every need, not what you want.
Amen. You're right.
I know that about me. Common thing. Sugar, share, and get back. But I think a lot of times, we make guests one time, we don't do that. And we would take some of our money that God has blessed us. That help our children. We don't put it in our home, in our trash can, in our churches. We just run it over.
Deacon Lenny brought out a point. How much debt have we incurred over things we didn't even need? Oh, you know, amen. It was like, I mean, think about in our lives when we think about how much God has blessed. I told you, I've been blessed to make a lot of money in my life. I'm military. When I got in the military, I was like, where did I let it go? They were paying for my meals, my housing, and giving me money. And I was like, where did it go? Because oftentimes we just spend, and instead of getting ahead, we get behind because we don't go with these principles. Look at this scripture again, underline those things. Let every man gather it according to each one's needs. I guess our struggle sometimes is what is a need, what's a want. And yes, God does allow us to have some of our wants. He does. All of us have a lot of our wants, right?
Right.
I'm looking at every one of y'all, and you got some wants in your life. You got some extravagant things. Who has a phone in your pocket now? Pocketbook. Y'all rich folks. Rich. All this extra, you don't need that. You remember time? People didn't carry phones.
That's right. That's right.
Your phone was at your house. If you had a phone. Now we carry our phones. We got apps and devices and all of this stuff. Our cars are hooked up. I love it. I look at the Wi-Fi sometimes. Your car's got Wi-Fi. Y'all got it. Wi-Fi in your car. Johnny Kelly's truck. Yeah, he can just surf the internet while you're driving. I'm like, wow. It's crazy. All at Ebenezer Baptist Church, millionaires. But notice the scripture. According to each one's needs, and then I underline every man had gathered according to each one's needs, that second time, and then let no one leave any of it till morning. God was so awesome. He made sure that there was enough manna for everybody's needs. He said when it's all up, everybody's going to have plenty, they're going to be full, and they're going to be happy. God had measured it out down to the minute, which we see in the New Testament, remember? 5,000, 4,000 fed, they picked up the scraps, 12 baskets. God is great when it comes to math. Angela.
And I look at that word gather. To gather means that you know what you have. And as you're talking about how we hoard things and we have things, a lot of times it does go into no man's land and we buy more things not realizing that we already have what we needed already in our house. Case in point, somebody came to my house on Sunday and wanted some special ice cream. And I told them I didn't have it. And when I go through my freezer on today taking inventory, I'm like, here's a whole thing of special ice cream, not expired, that I could have given, but I didn't know what I had as far as what God had already blessed me with.
Shame on you. Just repent. God will forgive you. We do. God has blessed us with so many things that we run to the store and we already have. Right? You start digging. Most of the things that we run, we say we're out of, we got it. We just can't find it. Sir.
Back in the Africa villages, what they do those days over here that we can get to somebody's house is still there. Because the reason being that they are blessed and the privilege, they don't have enough. So pretty much everybody knows everybody in the village. So they still like to do the same thing that they're doing right now. And because they don't have enough, everybody says to share whatever they have with one another. Yeah, but in the cities, it's just like the same here. In the cities, it's a very different story. But in the villages, it's still like the old days when people are to share whatever they have with one another. And so, because they don't have too much, they have just what they can, what they need. So if somebody come and you don't have it, you have somebody you have to share with them.
Good. Community of believers, very powerful. Did I get all the hands? Yes, sir.
You know, Pastor, we talk about how we used to help each other, going back, how we used to help each other with a cup of sugar, flour, whatever we needed from our neighbor. They found a new solution to that. It's called stealing. Am I lying?
You're right. You're right. And in a land of plenty, why do people still take? And most of the people who are stealing, it's not because they have to. It's because they have an abundance and they're getting adrenaline off of taking your stuff. This whole process of sin. Look at this next verse, Exodus 16:20. Someone read, please.
Notwithstanding, they did not eat Moses, but some of them left part of it from the moment, and he drank water from the tank. And Moses prepared with them.
All of these verses, this whole experience is to teach us. Okay, everything to God is a teaching moment. God never wastes his time on anything. The manna was a teaching moment, points to Christ, and even everything that he said, and this is important within the scriptures, everything God has said has a significance. When you try to rip out something, it's going to affect you. When you say, hey, I don't believe this, I believe this, it's going to affect you. The whole homosexuality thing that our society is dealing with, it's not because God doesn't love homosexuals. He's laid down something that's important because he realized once that gets off kilter, other things follow. Other things, people get confused and all these struggles happen within our lives. God has placed it, and even more so Christ, to help us with our struggles. Because your struggle may not be homosexuality, but it may be overeating. You may have a lack of faith. You may have issues with relationships. Sin is sin. And this whole process, God tells them, okay, I want you to get everything. I want you to share. Everybody's going to get enough. But there were some of them that did what? They didn't listen. They didn't listen, or they heard it and they wanted to do their own way. Oh, okay, fine. We're just going to leave it. There's going to be some. But what happened when they left it, didn't follow God's instructions? Very powerful. Now, this is powerful. One day maybe I'll get able to just preach on it and just talk about it. But I believe anything that's outside of God's will, it can be a blessing. But if you use it in the wrong manner, it becomes a curse. Amen. When your blessing turns to a curse. I believe God gives us a lot of blessings, but we use it in the wrong manner, so it becomes a curse. God blesses you with a promotion, right? And so your job is, okay, you gave me this money, what am I supposed to do with it? A lot of people, okay, I got a promotion, I want to give you a new car. Okay, but your other car is kind of running okay, and the reason it's jacked up most of the time because you didn't take care of it. Look on this side. It's something that's called maintenance. Really, it's something that's called maintenance. It's something that you do on everything that's man-made. You have to maintain it. And so you just felt you could get the car and just drive it, run over edges, go into potholes, put jacked up gas in it, and just keep going. And so your solution, okay, God bless me with a promotion. God must want me to buy a new car. So we take that and we go buy a new car, but our issue is still the same. You ain't gonna take care of the new car. And guess what? The new car maintenance is probably gonna be more than the old car maintenance. Am I talking to anybody? So that which was a blessing, God blessed you here. You've been praying for more money, but God knew when you get that more money. See, that's what I learned. Some people go, Pastor, pray that I get a promotion. Pastor, pray that God moves, that I get this job and that job. And I'm like, but you're not doing anything with what you got now. That's just going to make you even more belligerent, more ugly, get deeper into debt. I was talking to a guy today, NBA, NFL, people make millionaires, these guys, I mean, $60 million contracts, $100 million, and then within 10 years, they're broke. What happened? You got all of that money, Johnny Depp, $2 million a month, and he's almost at the verge of bankruptcy. How are you a movie star and you in all these Pirates of the Caribbean smiling at us and joking around, $2 million a month? And I looked at his tab, it's pretty. He had $30,000 for wine. Y'all say $30,000 for wine? Yeah, when you're Johnny Depp, you inviting the whole church over. You can't go to Full Line and get your wine. You gotta think it's gonna cost you $30,000. All of this, he said, I can't fly commercial. Because the paparazzi on the plane, so I had to have my own plane, got paid for the gas. Have you ever drove up your Learjet and had to put gas in it? Trust me, it's more than $1.99 a gallon, okay? $2 million and still struggling. Because you can't live on Vandalia Road. Johnny Depp, you can't. You be one of them. But that's our mindset. Everything becomes bigger and bigger. So God says, I want you to clear it all up. But somebody said, no, we're going to do it our own way. So that was your blessing, red worms and stank. And Moses became what? My heart, I'm just going to let you know, if you haven't read this story, Moses is not going to get to the promise. I hurt my heart every time I see Moses. Because I'm like, he's going to be stressed out. At the end of the 4 years, he's going to want to die. Really, he's going to say, God, just kill me. Really, because these people are going to get on his last nerves so much. And then he's almost going to get to Canaan land. And he's going to bless him. But too much is given, much is required. He's going to be able to see the promised land and not go in. And one of his big issues is going to be dealing with the folks. Did I get all the hands? Yes, sir.
In the scripture, there's something that's telling when you guys said obedience is better than sacrifice. That's when obedience is what they actually exactly what the children of Israel did. When they did obey Moses. And I think that is the very end. So we have to take it very, very, very important. We have to take it very serious. Everything that you tell us or whatever God has spoken to us, we need to obey. But when we obey the instructions, definitely we end very well with that.
Amen. Someone read that commentary, please. They were
instructed not to eat of these till the morning, but when the sun did, the very words and saying, God's provision was to be gathered every morning. This should speak to the universe to follow the same. This same pattern was laid for our parents. And that was feeding on the word of God early each day.
I do believe that, not as one as being a legal law, but it's something about getting God's word before your day hits you. And all of us has experienced this. Once you come out and hit your day, the day has a way of just kind of sucking you in. One thing after another. And you've got to fight to put God first in your life at all times, but to have that communion time. And some of you still struggling with that time alone with God, because you go through the day, and guess what? By the time you get home, you're so tired. You go, I'm going to spend a little time with you, Lord. And you lay on your bed, just me and Jesus. Just me and Jesus. God, we're going to read, you and me, Lord. You help me through this day, and you lay down, and you pull up the covers, you're like, Lord, you're my comforter. Hallelujah. And then you wake it up. Right? It's a struggle. We got to put God first. That's key, critical. Look at this next portion. Exodus 16:21. And go ahead through the 24th verse, please.
So they gathered it every morning, every man according to his need. And when the sun became hot, it melted. And so it was on the 6th day that they gathered twice as much bread, 2 omers of each one. And all the rulers of the congregation came and told Moses. Then he said to them, this is what the Lord has said. Tomorrow is a Sabbath, rest, a holy Sabbath to the Lord. Bake what you will bake today, and boil what you will boil. And lay up for yourselves all that remains to be kept until morning. So they laid it up till morning as Moses commanded, and it did not stink, nor were there any worms in it.
Okay, now we see another miracle. First miracle is it doesn't last. And I know you think, wow, that's a reverse miracle. It really is. The miracle was it should have lasted, but God had put an expiration date on it.
Right.
All right? Get it? That day, it's your provisions for that day. You can't take it over to the next day. If you do, it turns into worms and it stinks. All right, so it had an expiration date. But what happens within these scriptures? What did God do?
The concept of Sabbath day.
He reversed it. The instructions for what? Monday through Saturday. The provision lasted one day. What? But on that Saturday,
You get the
or if you look at the Friday, we take a Saturday as a Sabbath, and then on that Friday, it was enough for 2 days. Gathered for Friday, and it was enough for Saturday or the Sabbath that would last. And what did Moses say this was for? Yes, it is a Sabbath rest at 1623, a holy Sabbath to the Lord. So God said, you know what, I want you to work those 6 days, but everybody needs to rest. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to change my miracle. On that Friday, I'm going to let you gather for 2 days. And it's going to last you and not turn to worm. Go God. This comes back to our needs and our wants. I believe in hard work, working real hard. But what I found out a lot of times, sometimes we can work too much. Because our work, we miss out on our family, we miss out on so much stuff because we're working, we're trying to get that American dream. Pie in the sky. And then when we get it, we realize, you know what? It wasn't all I thought it was. It just didn't do. I see guys that ain't never been able to drive a car, they run into money, and so they go out and they get a Ferrari. Okay, you get problems driving a Toyota. It's just, and you know, they wreck it, or they get all these tickets, and then they're back in the hole again. I'm like, all of these things, God is saying, what is your needs? I'm going to provide for you. And if we can begin to live within our means, how much could God give us to bless others and to reach out in some other things and we not be so stressed out, so busted and disgusted? I mean, so many people that are making good paychecks, but it's all gone by the end of the month, by the end of the week. And they don't know. I've been beginning to question, I try to help them out with their finances, and we kind of go through. And they go, oh, I didn't know that. What's your interest rate? I don't know. How much you paying the Spectrum? I don't know. What do you mean you don't know? Do you know you broke? Do you realize that? Can I tell you that? What's happened over? So much is just going out, and we're living above our means. And God is saying, I never wanted you to be in this situation. Instead of getting free, you're digging a hole deep.
Yeah.
God says, I'm going to provide for you. Yes, sir.
Head over heels and that. Sometimes you support that, you can't support those things.
Amen.
Very easy.
Want anybody want something else? Y'all need to repent. Y'all need to get to the altar. You don't have prayer time. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just thinking a minute ago before my brother made the statement, that's where it comes in, discretion comes in. And the word that says, in all that getting, get it understands. And the word that's supposed to be, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. And so, but it's interesting for us to see ourselves growing and knowing, it also came to me that the word that says, no, we have the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eye, and the pride of life in this world. And we are separated from the world. We live in the world, but we're not of the world. So it's for the world, and it's really a trick of the enemy to get our attention to try to be competitive and to try to keep up with the Smiths and the Jones and stuff.
Or the Kevin.
I mean, it really is. It's a challenge. Nobody, whatever your name is. We're trying to keep up like the truth, something close to whatever the truth thinks.
But in other words, the enemy, our eyes do see something. And if we look upon it too long, we're beginning to lust for it. It's not only to lust for another man's woman or woman's husband or whatever, but we can lust for something physical and stuff. And whenever we come into a lump sum of money, which I've experienced, and I'm a little very last, I wish there was a man of God, I wish there was a mother that was there, or somebody at the time and season that could have given a little bit more guidance. But what was so interesting, even in seeking a church home at that time, I think it was actually 19,000 at one time that I came in. It was really unexpected. But it was a little complicated to me because I'm saying, somebody knows, the enemies. But I did do some good with it. I blessed several nieces and nephews with $2,000 and stuff. But I say all that to say that God gives us discretion. And the enemy wants us to be competitive. We're living in a society like never before. Everything's at the reach by telephones and stuff. And trust me, technology is going to catch up with us even as it is now.
Right.
And it may not, if there's a cyber attack, it may catch up with us sooner than we think and stuff. But I'm enjoying this lesson because what you're saying is very true. But we as people of God, and when it comes back to the Word, God wanted them to, for those 6 days, to each day depend upon Him. And when I relate to the Word, He wants us each day to relate upon His Word. And it takes a real bona fide Christian to submit himself to the Spirit of God. And I heard someone, teachers say today, our highest and most fulfilling call is to become conformed into the character of Christ.
Amen.
But if we got our eyes in the world and we're in this world system, we're going to become competitive with other people and in that market and stuff. But actually, and then the Word lets us know that, I can go to any church and hear the Word because the Word is true, and I can get something out of it.
Right.
But if the Spirit of the Lord, if the person's been prayed up in the Spirit of the Lord, if he wants to, he can give us what's called the rhema, something that's present, something that's more than just the word itself. It's like it's just for me,
Right.
At that particular time. And it's a difference because when you get the rhema of the word, it's what God wants you to have that particular day.
You're right.
You eat that because you can eat too much and not be effective at all.
You're right.
When I look at this, I see, like you said, go God, but I also look at this and I was just saying, what power of the truthfulness. We say the word, we say the word. When you look at this, what God says is, it's this way, and now it's not this way, what will happen. And then it brings into formation in my mind that the very essence of the word of God is very powerful. This word spoken to us right here is just as powerful as God speaking. When I look at this, I start thinking, wow, creation. God said, let there be like boom. So he said, don't eat this. Don't do it. Do this right here. And it takes us back to 2 Timothy. It says this word is the first thing he says good for teaching. Here, if you're looking at it, he's teaching them what not to do, to follow my instructions, because not following my instructions has consequences that you don't have a clue. And I have we go through a lot of things sometimes exponential or quicker, sometimes because God needs us to learn a lesson.
You're right. Good. Can I get all the hands? I want you to keep this in mind because we're all talented. All right? I think we all have a word. We got a word tonight, right? It's a rhema word. God is speaking to us. So what are we going to do? Because pressure always comes. Temptation. These ladies and gentlemen are in the wilderness. All they have is what they've taken from Egypt. They just dragging it around. They got tents. They're living around. God is leading them. He's providing for them. But yet they still struggle with their flesh. God is doing this. God is doing it. We're going to find out. He's even providing. He's causing their shoes and their clothes not to wear out. God is doing this. The same clothes, God is somehow in the washing machine He's putting some agent in there that the stuff is not gonna wear out for 40 years. Now, people are gonna die before their clothes wear out.
Wow.
This is it, that's a quote. The people will die before the clothes wear out. Because God says, I'm gonna sustain the clothes longer than some of y'all belligerent folks. Look at this next part. I want you to read Exodus, I think we're 25 through 27. Disobedience. God provides. Remember, Saturday is the Sabbath. We're dealing with that, the Sabbath. That's what it means. So on that Friday, you're supposed to get for 2 days. But there were some folks that went out on that day of rest, looking for food. I commend you. There's some that still, we understand New Testament. We don't have to be legalistic, but some of the ladies and men, they actually prepare their food now. Sunday is your day of rest. You prepare it on Saturday. And you come home, and food is there. A good Jew does not cook. They stay to their dietary restrictions. They make sure that from that Sabbath sun up to sundown, that there's no work. You know, some are real strict. There's no heat to the food, nothing. It's just there. They don't work or any kind. They said, this is our Sabbath. We're going to focus in on the Lord. We have Sabbaths in our home. It's been tough, though, because there's so many things that you want to do. You know, you got internet coming in. You got all of these things to distract us from just focusing in and just hearing the voice of the Lord. God wanted them to focus in on the fact that He was the all-powerful one and He was the provider, but some went out looking for food, but there was none there. Look at this next section, 28 through 30. Someone read, please.
And the Lord said to Moses, how long do you refuse to keep my commandments and my laws? See, for the Lord has given you the Sabbath. Therefore He gives you on the 6th day bread for 2 days. Let every man remain in his place. Let no man go out of his place on the 7th day. So the people rested on the 7th day.
How long? God's getting frustrated. He knows they're going to continue to do this, but He is. How long are you going to refuse my what?
My commandments and my law.
I've done all this. Red Sea experience, plagues, water. I've provided over and over again, and somebody's still going to go out on the Sabbath looking for food. I gave you, this is very powerful, and that's why we understand God gives the Sabbath. He doesn't have to give us a day of rest. If you don't want to take it, then that's fine. If you don't have a Sabbath set aside, that's on you. But God has given us all a Sabbath. And in that, we have to trust God. Whatever that day is for you, that He's going to provide for that day. But when we take that away, we wear ourselves out needlessly because we say God is our provider. You hear me? God, He provides. Yeah, but we still stay so broke and so much struggle in our lives. If we say He provides, let's trust Him on some levels for provisions and try to discern again what's a need and what's a want. Dig it in.
That's why we have to be obedient to do what we're supposed to do. Even there was time when we didn't have electric stove, and cook our wood, and we heat our wood. That means you gotta get that done on Saturday. When people go actually Sunday. We're more strict then, just now, with water stuff that will come into the day. And you trying to, you already do, you push what's back then, this stuff you had to cut up, you would get that done on Saul. And don't be more in the yard, you do all that on Saturday or through the week. But you have to be very careful now, because this stuff is scary. It's making us go against the what.
I can't imagine, and many of you can't. Can you imagine having to, no stove, no microwave, you had a wood stove, and you know you got to cut the wood, put it in the stove. You got to, some of y'all can't even start a fire. Y'all be so hungry, y'all be on my house. Man, you can't even start a fire. And to think of preparing all of this, cooking on Saturday before Sunday because you were trying not to work on that day. I mean, just think of all the grocery stores shut down. Golden Corral shut down. Aldi shut down. Food Line. All of these stores. Wendover, Friendly, nothing. Gone. Boom, 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 boom. Just finished. And we had to live months, not just weeks. And I know y'all power outage people, you're like, well, I got a generator. But so long that your generator run out of gas, there is no gas, and you got to just like, maybe. How our society would change so quickly. And it is. Being in the military, there are a lot of things that we just don't know, some things that I've learned that can happen at any time, that literally can take down I'm not so much concerned about the internet. It is what it is, but to take down the electrical grid as a whole. There are weapons out there, literally, that can take down all of our electricity. I mean, all your phones, fried. You be like, call somebody. Nothing. Your cars wouldn't even run now. Literally, only car that runs is my car. Cause I got one old car. Keep an old car. It ain't got no computer system. They got a real carburetor on it. It's got, I'm serious. All of our things that we know of, stop. And where are we going? We're going to try to find Miss Creed, Deacon Lenny, Sister Eva, Deacon Rudd. We know Deacon Rudd. He's like, will you adopt us, please? Provision. And oftentimes, if we had to go, we were like, we don't have anything, but we have more than enough. Right? But it's hard for us to see it that way. There were some hands in the back. Yes, sir, Tony, and then we'll come to Rob.
You know, it all sounds so good, sounds so easy when you sit here. If it was just as easy as it sounds. But, and that's why we got to thank God for Jesus. He just knew. But, the only people that would come close, like you said, are the legalists, which are the Jews, unless they Messianic. They lost anyway. They don't have Jesus. But we sit here and we say, we got it all together with this. But when I look at this, it's just like in the house, in the church, organizations, and places. Everybody hears the message. It seems like they would understand. But then you run into them, they act like they weren't sitting there listening to the same thing you did.
Amen. Rob?
Yeah, that's like, maybe someone maybe when I was in the military in Africa, and I happened to go to Lebanon, and I went to Israel for vacations, and we went on 2 occasions. And one thing that I realized about Israel is Saturday is a very sacred day for them. Everything in the sea shuts down. The whole sea of Israel shuts down. You barely see cars, maybe few buses or maybe some few motor riders around, but as far as business and everything, it's shut down. So I was asking why, and they told me that very Saturday. So this has given a meaning to what you were saying. I just remember about it. Thought about it, I said, well, that is why Israel don't play with the Sabbath day at all.
Sacred time. Sacred time. And there used to be a time here in the United States. Blue law. Nothing was open. I remember that. I'm not that old. I remember that. What if somebody said, what do you say? Really, I remember that. Everything. With no mall. Sunday, everything was shut down. You want to get something done, you had to get on Saturday or Monday. Because Sunday, it was gone. And alcohol, you couldn't get no alcohol. There was a section that no alcohol came in, period. That changed, but definitely not on Sunday. But things have opened up, and that has become not a sacred day. None of the days are sacred anymore. That's why we have to make sure that we're trying to do what we need to do, whatever that day is for you. Deacon Rudd.
Speaking about the world, assuming the world is a worthy thing, I had an experience a few years ago, and I said a long time ago when I was young, I said, if I had money, I wouldn't need no money. If I had enough money, I could be out there on my own, I wouldn't need nothing. But I found out money, some things you cannot do with money. I called to get a room reservation 2 years ago, my wife and I said, I want a room, and come in such a time, I need a number, I need your credit card. a debit card, either one. And I talked to someone a while, and I did not know this, truly, I was ignorant to the fact. I said, no, I got cash, I'll pay for one of these. Put your name down, I got the money, and I'll pay you for that. Or you go in the room, I come back and say, no, I need the number. I didn't need the room. Now, there is some rules on this earth that we have to come about.
Amen. You're right.
Money will not get you everything you come at.
You're right. There's a final, yes, ma'am.
I was thinking back, that Sabbath day thing, I grew up on a farm, believe it or not, and I will never forget when I asked my grandfather for some money, and he gave me a dime, and I didn't want the dime, and I looked at him like, that's all I'm getting, and I did, I gave him that look. He said, I tell you what, if you want more than that, you go out there, you pick whatever you want, and then you get out there and sell it. So every morning, faithfully, I would get up before school, I would pick okras and, corn, I would do it, and then get out there. Well, I called myself greedy. On Sunday, I got up early that morning, because I was like, oh, they on their way to church. I get them before they go to church. That's what my mom said. Well, my grandfather got me. That stuck in my head. I said, Mommy, why did he spank me? He told me to do this. He told me to do this. He said, because you know that you do not work on Sunday. And you never seen him go out there in that field on Sunday. That's why. That is the day of rest. So when you talk about that, that brings back a memory like that was my first real spanking, and that made me realize Sunday, oh no.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. Powerful. Let me get this commentary. We're almost finished for tonight. There's a couple more hands. It says, God re-instructed his people regarding the rest of the Holy Sabbath. No work was to be done. Everyone was to abide in his place. Verse 29, worship, meditation, and physical rest from a busy week of activity would characterize that day. Again, you might want to underline that. Worship, meditation, and physical rest. For me, Sunday is not my Sabbath. I work on Sunday. I'm sweating. I'm thinking. I'm pushing through. I'm trying to deliver. That is not, I'm not resting. Don't think I'm up here just resting. It's work. God is using me, his mule at that time. So I have to set aside another day for me to rest. And this whole process, that's what the Sabbath should all be about. They worked 6 days and then rested according to the divine pattern of the creative week. Genesis 2, 2-3. Crown, yeah, Jenna.
Yeah, Pastor, I was sitting here listening, what you're saying, what's happening in this day and time. I was born and raised in the South, and my sister was talking about the farm. We had goats, mules, and all. There was times on Saturday we had to make sure we had firewood for the stove to warm the room, but then my granddad used to cook on the stove. You had to make sure that wood was there. You had to make sure, a lot of people in the church today don't know nothing about an outhouse.
Right.
We had a rod. My dad had me and my two brothers. We had to set aside and go and dig this hole so deep and throw a rope down in there and pull one another out. Because we're going to take turns to dig that hole out and set that outhouse on the top of that hole. We had to do that. Even in the garden, we had to make sure that there was no grass in between the middle of that fur. If there was grass in between the middle of that fur, you couldn't put no fertilizer down because as soon as rain hits, it's going to grow back and it's going to be right back in the middle of that fur. I know what it is to come up on the days because my grandma and granddad, that's what we had to cook on the stove. You make sure that firewood there. Even the pump, you didn't have running water. You had a pump house. You go to that pump house, fill them jugs up, take it in the house, fill the pots up, make sure that water's hot, you get a bag for church on Sunday morning.
Y'all be late quick. All right, I want y'all to study here. We got some more hands. Study here. We're really going to hit this strong on next week. This is your homework. This is your homework. Let's tell them we already did Philippians 2:14. You're going to stop complaining. We don't complain anymore. Right? So now, since we read this scripture, we know God provides for us. He give to our need, I want you to examine your apartment, your house, your car, and what do you have there that you're never gonna use? And your assignment is start getting rid of stuff. All right? So for those with houses, attics, house, basement, garage. All right? Those with apartments, attics, corners, under the shelving, your car. You know most of your stuff in the back of your car. I want you to start thinking, okay, God, you're a provider. I'm never going to use this. It's time for me. Hey, he provides, right? It's time for me to allow that manna to continue moving. Amen? Come on to your feet. Let's close out.